Tonight on Bet Prime, it's a Summit League matchup and one with some huge postseason implications as the Bison of North Dakota State play host to the Coyotes of the University of South Dakota. Happy to have you along here, everyone. Corey Brooks bringing you the action tonight. The Coyotes of USD are the top team in the Summit League. The Bison, picked second in the preseason poll, now sit fourth. We're going to try and gain some ground with the final month of the regular season upon us. Each game takes on added meaning as everyone is looking for that little bit of momentum that can push them through in the Summit League tournament that will enable them to get that automatic bid to the NCAA tourney. The big dance awaits. Each team trying to find their way there. We will introduce you to the Bison and the Coyotes after a quick timeout right here on the Bet. Stretch play. Tarmina looking for some space. He finds his cutback lane, and there is nothing but lane there. A long touchdown for MSU Mankato. Will Ryan Schlichty be getting his first touchdown? He's looking into the end zone. Welcome to the NCAA ranks, Ryan Schlichty. Screen time here on Bet Prime. Good feed. Woo-hoo! Munachiso Conquo with the and one. And White directing the traffic down the floor as he's become so adept at doing. The sophomore rises up and knocks it down. Swing. Prochowski's on deck. The payoff pitch one more time from Binger. Sent into right field, and it lands in fair territory. Perfectly placed by Drew Fearing. 2-run score for the Bison. Fearing holds up at second, and North Dakota State has them doubled up for the first time in this series. It's a Bison lead, and it's by 2. If Miller does walk, it'll be his fellow freshman Ryan Sand. The 3-2 is hit into right field. Armstrong gets a jump on it, but it's going to get down in front of him. Turning to score is Ukestad. The play at the plate. It gets away from Whiteside, and it's a walk-off hit for Jaden Miller. The freshman from Steele, North Dakota, wins the game in extra innings. 5-4. The Vikings take game one here of our doubleheader in Valley City. 14-10. The Beef on top of the Bucks. Tyler Floyd back deep to return for Bismarck. Milliken puts it up. Floyd runs up right to it. He'll begin his effort right at the 3-yard line. Floyd looking to bring it back through the middle. He does. He breaks through one tackle. He's got room to run. Tyler Floyd reverses field. Has to get through the official, and that's an official touchdown. The former defensive back, now running back and kick returner, strikes right back. And the Bismarck Bucks do not trail for a single offensive play here at home.
One thing I noticed, Omaha came screaming down. They were flying. They did a good job in terms of initial lane integrity, but then all it takes is one or two guys to break down, and we know Floyd is shaking and baking. He's going to make some things happen, and you can see it here.
He looked bottled up right there, and he somehow finds a seam and then makes another one right there with pure nasty speed.
And that's a great job by Smith and Murphy getting down, hustling to get those downfield blocks to ensure that Floyd can get in.
They will also hit the face mask onto the ledger of the Omaha Beef. That'll be assessed on the kickoff. Following the kickoff. Meanwhile, Connolly's going to try and line up this extra point to make it a field goal game. The Bucks trail for about 10 seconds on the clock. Their offense never has to come out while trailing on the scoreboard. Though Bain out there right now is the holder. It is up. Once again, as it so often is with Evan Connolly, it is good. The Bismarck Bucks respond just like that. That's the nature of the indoor game. Punch and counter punch all the way through.
Absolutely, and that's definitely something that's got our fans on their feet here as we're dodging footballs again this week. But you gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Another good crowd here for some Thursday night football. An odd time of the week, and despite that, the lower bowl here at the Bismarck Event Center nearly full. We've got some fans in the upper seats as well, showing their support for the first-year team, the Bismarck Bucks.
Yeah, Bismarck has to be happy with the support they've gotten from the crowd. you know, you're starting to see the crowd evolve in terms of their involvement in the game. You know, it's getting a little rowdier, and you know, you see more people dancing and having fun, having a good time. So it's an event.
It is.
And even if you're not the most diehard football fan, you come out here and have a great time.
And I think the fans here are starting to learn the players a little bit too.
Yeah.
You know, you get attached, and you do it with any level of football. You know, you always talk about the quarterback, and that's an obvious one. And having John back out there, I think, helps in that respect a great deal. But even other guys like Brendan Daly, for example, who's so charismatic, can really have that impact on fans.
Yeah, the more the team gets out in the community, they do a great job with their public appearances. The more they can get out in schools, and the more the team that can promote their players via Facebook and some of those other means, you know, the more attached the fans get to the players, and obviously that leads to increased attendance and more people just having a flat out great time.
And the mascot as well. You never want to rule out the importance of the mascot.
Right.
Under 10 to go here. The Bismarck Bucks on top by 3, 17-14. Connolly splits the seam right down the middle. It's bobbled by Paul Robinson. He's eventually able to pick it up. He reverses field and does manage to get out of that white. Shakes one tackle. He's brought down by his dreads. Antoine Smith grabbed him. And so the Omaha Beef will start at the 17-yard line.
Boone really got down there in a hurry. He was running full speed, but the one thing that he needs to do is break down. He's got to be able to break down and get that right. You could see him. He got kind of run past that. A couple guys were flying downfield, got run past, but hey, you know, you're trying to make a tackle. If there's dreads swinging out there, grab a hold. It's part of the uniform.
It's legal.
Pull them down, do what you got to do to try to make that stop and prevent a bigger return.
You're not allowed to grab a guy by the collar of his jersey and by the front of his face mask. Other than that, it's part of the uniform, and it is legal. The face mask penalty, speaking of, from a couple plays ago on that kickoff return will be assessed here. And so actually the drive begins inside the 10-yard line for Omaha at the 8. Their worst starting field position of the day outside of the one drive, which they began at the 5.
You know, sometimes you'll see coaches onside kick in that scenario knowing that they have the penalty in the bank, but I think this was smart to be able to kick it deep. And
run right up the gut. It goes nowhere. DeMarco Smith all over it. And that is the third or fourth time today we have seen the converted players from offense, whether it be Smith or Lamont Gilbert, step up and make the play. The Bucks flexing their depth here versus the Beef.
DeMarco Smith he's a good pickup from Jamestown. He does a great. He looks natural. He looks like a natural defensive lineman. Outside of his build, he just looks comfortable playing that defensive end or nose guard position. So it's critical to have those type of players on your roster.
So Unedited will be solo dolo in the gun. Quick 3-step drop. He has not hung in the pocket long today. Despite the good pass protection, they've all been quick hitters, and why not? They keep working. This time they find Andrew King.
And King, he knows how to run routes. And again, that was another curl type concept. And instead of running to coverage, instead of running to the safety and sitting down, he bent in a little bit and just sat down short of 10 yards, and makes it really easy for the quarterback to be able to complete that pass.
Third and medium at the 13-yard line. Unedited again, not flanked by a running back. He'll send his guys in motion. Quick hitter, pump fake. Unedited looking for it way downfield. A flag will fly. The Bismarck Bucks will argue that was not catchable, and they may have a point.
Yeah, you could see they were going after Thompson again, trying to get the rookie with a little double move action.
Trying to get it down the field to Jordan Boykin, another one of the new signings for this Omaha Beef team. But as you saw on the replay, the football was not pictured. Usually that makes it a tough catch for the wide receiver. And that is exactly what our officials are talking about right now. They're going to wave the flag off. That is absolutely the correct call.
Yeah, obviously Coach Ross doesn't agree with it, but you know, it's not often that you get a pass breakup by the scoreboard hanging down from the middle of the arena, but hey, it happens.
So it'll be 4th down and 6. Coach Ross will get an explanation. That scoreboard has caused 1 or 2 explanations for both Coach Davis and whoever the opposing coach is. You can see it bounce off, but nevertheless, the ball must be catchable for a pass interference to be called. So the clock winds. We're under 8 to go. With the Beck Broadcasting Network celebrating its 10th year, delivering high school, collegiate, and professional athletics to the viewers of North Dakota. And a late change there as Coach Ross finishes getting his explanation. I believe he's going to bring the kicking unit out. You see Unedited head to the bench there. We've seen Evan Connolly drain 1 long field goal for the Bismarck Bucks. Now the Beef are going to try and tie things up.
I think this is a situation where you can't waste timeouts on that decision. Arguing calls, things like that. You got to get your people out there, and they're kicking it from the hash, and this is going to be a close one here.
Milliken puts it up, it hits off the scoreboard.
Yeah. So again, I don't understand why you don't call to move the ball out to the outer hash. I keep referring to them as ticks, but it's the outer hash. Move it out there. You've seen Bismarck do it, and you got to see the scoreboard is hanging low in the middle of the field. You've got to be able to move that ball out, call for it, make smart coaching decisions.
And I believe that's the explanation being given to Coach Ross right now. The Bismarck Bucks have the football back. When we get back, you're watching Bucks football on Beck Broadcasting Network, presented by Farmers Union Insurance. It's preseason number 1, Northern State against a young and surging U-Mary Marauders team. Happy to have you along, Corey Brooks, alongside Noah Reed, Hunter Jacobs, and Jordan Lowry with us here at the McDowell Activity Center. Scott Lurch is our director, just up the sidewalk here at the Beck Studios on the campus of U-Mary, and it's Cole Squared, Cole Waletzko, and Cole Dennis rounding out our U-Mary studio crew. Ball's up in the air. Let's play NSIC Conference Basketball here on the grand opening of conference play.
Corey, I think one thing to keep an eye on, and how does U-Mary respond on a start, either if it's really good like it was last night, or if it's bad, considering this Northern State team is picked to finish first in the NSIC. Your response on if it's too good, too bad, whatever the case may be, I think that's a key thing to watch out for early on.
The Marauders did a great job of punching one of the top teams in the conference in the mouth yesterday, disrupting their rhythm. For now, though, it'll be Northern State getting the first opportunity. It is indeed DJ Pollard, who we showcased just a couple minutes ago as our player to watch. Well, every once in a while we get it right. He heads to the line for 2 shots.
Yeah, does a little bit of everything, and we talked about that in the beginning. A guy who can score, a guy who distributes, rebounds, shoots the ball at an extremely great clip from everywhere. 45 from the field, 58 behind the three-point line, and also shoots 79% from the free throw line, even though couldn't get that one to go.
One of 2 fifth-year players on this Northern State team is DJ Pollard. Near the tops of the team in free throw percentage. This time it'll be a 1 of 2 trip, and the first lead of the day will indeed go to Northern State. Trevor Zocker gets his first touch of the day. Quiet yesterday. Better in the second half than the first, but a huge part of what U-Mary tries to do is their leading scorer coming into the weekend. Matt Kreklow going to work. He spins off it, and Matt Kreklow has the first points for U-Mary.
Really like that possession. Did a nice job moving without the basketball. The guards run the weave up top off the screens. Got it moving east to west a little bit, but then finally got it inside of the paint. When you get a paint touch, a lot of good things happen out of that.
DJ Pollard drives baseline. Extra pass made. Ian Smith working it around. 3 ball in and out to Darren Paterka. Keith Hunter and Jalen White are going to originate the offense up top for nearly every Mary possession in which either one of them are in. Quick takeaway. Here comes Northern State where they're at their most dangerous in transition. Up under, no contact. How about the defense down the floor by Tom Kubank? White hands it off. Launching pad is there. It's Matt Kreklow.
Yeah, that's a really nice play by White to read where his offense was. Does a nice job dropping it off to the trailer in an easy bucket.
Used all of that 6'9" frame to put that one home. U-Mary off to that fast start once again. Just like you mentioned a moment ago, Noah. Northern State unable to answer. The floater not there for Logan Doyle. And early on, it's clear UMary is looking to go pedal to the metal, playing a high-tempo brand of basketball as we've come to expect under Coach Cattell. Kubank, nice move right along that baseline. And once again, it's the forwards, Tom Kubank and Matt Kreklow, making an early impact.
Yeah, you couldn't ask for a much better start for UMary. Buckets on 3 of their first 4 trips, spreading it out a little bit, running the offense well when they do have to run the half-court offense, but also getting out on the run as well on the fast break.
Almost an entirely brand new lineup for UMary. A lot of guys who redshirted last year got familiar with the system. They had a big upset win last year. Now looking for another one here at home. 3 ball to beat the buzzer. Doesn't matter. Keith Hunter quickly down the floor. Zocker from the wing. Left it just short. Another offensive rebound. Zocker on the follow. Still no. Third chance. Not going to come. Ian Smith on the denial.
That's a really nice offensive possession. I know you don't come away with any points, but 3 looks at the basket, attacking the offensive glass. Just what you want to be doing.
Darren Paterka, off of the medical red shirt, missing a ton of time, has come back into this Wolves lineup and made an immediate impact. The red shirt senior, one of the emotional leaders on the court, in addition to DJ Pollard. He's just happy to be back out there and making a huge impact. Good extra pass to find Keith Hunter. Too strong off back iron. Smith, nice take to the basket, weaving his way through a couple UMary defenders en route to the back.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about, is how do you respond now? You start out really well in about the first 2.5, 3 minutes, open up that 6-1 lead, but back-to-back possessions where Northern State comes away with points. How do you put an end to that run if you're UMary?
Jalen White unable to cash in on the 3. A whistle comes. We will head down to the other end of the floor. Matt Kreklow, the guilty party, his first foul. Marauders overall this season do a good job of staying out of foul trouble, especially the 2 big guys who have already made their presence felt in Kubank and Kreklow. In yesterday's game against a similarly ranked team, UMary really mitigated the fouls in the early going. Doing that once again here with about 5 minutes gone by. Clean look from the outside, knock it down, Bo Freeze. So far, Noah, a lot of wide open looks from beyond the arc for the Wolves of Northern State.
Yeah, and I credit that more than anything to the offense that they're running. UMary's doing a nice job defensively, but a lot of guys getting into the lane, getting the ball into the post. You can get some in-out kicks like that for wide open threes. Those are the threes you want if you're a team.
That time looking for it again. Instead, it's a pass to the stands. Look out. He's trying to find DJ Pollard, and here comes the big wave of subs. For head coach Joe Cattell, Lucas Mayer will enter along with Wyatt Carr as the new guys, the 2 true freshmen, along with the newcomer on the floor, though not the freshman, and Brody Sharkey, the junior and transfer out of McCook College. Sharkey had the first half of all first halves yesterday as a part of the big lead that Mary got out to over the Dragons of MSUM as a part of this weekend series against number 1 and number 2, Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference. Keith Hunter was trying to work that one into Zocker. Instead, he lets it fly from just inside the arc. Long rebound comes out to DJ Pollard. Good job by UMary getting back, denying Pollard the quick transition opportunity, and it goes off his knee. And back to UMary. And our first pause of the day, it is Northern, but it's just by 3. Happy to have you here on a broadcast brought to us by Farmers Union Insurance, as well as Dakota Community Bank and Trust, and North Dakota Firefighters Association, as well as the University of Mary, the hometown squad, down by just 1 score. Following some clean looks for the Wolves, UMary with a chance to try and knot things up in the early going. Mayer hands it off. Zocker. This is the youngest lineup that UMary will sport, with the 2 true freshmen getting in there. Sharkey with a nice take to the basket. And Brody Sharkey's on the board.
Yeah, Corey, not that was absolutely a needed possession with a bucket. It's super early, and it was only a 3-point game, but it was an 8-0 run for Northern State up to that point, so a nice job by the Marauders. Ran some nice offense, got deep into the shot clock, and finished it off with a nice contested layup.
Carter Evans, the turnaround Jay, not there. Good rebound by Wyatt Carr. That's where he's going to have an immediate impact. He already has here in his true freshman campaign. Foul comes on the floor. The freshman from right here in North Dakota and former Hazen Bison, Wyatt Carr, getting the nod from Coach Cattell to play a ton here in his freshman campaign. Meanwhile, Justin Ang, also from North Dakota, a little bit north of here in Minot, the red shirt, who will get plenty of playing time next year. One of the most talented players for a program that won back-to-back titles. Good head fake by Wyatt Carr, loses it on the way in, but a foul be whistled against Northern State. Ian Smith can't believe it, but the officials may have a case, Noah.
Yeah, I think it was the right call, and you could tell right away the look that Wyatt Carr gave. You could tell that he got hit, and it was a late whistle, but it was a correct whistle.
Gabe King going to check in for the first time. Darren Paterka going to re-enter. Coming off that injury, Paterka full go now for Northern State. And the redshirt senior providing a ton of leadership with DJ Pollard. Those two have been instrumental in the fast start for NSU. 1-2, and he steps on the inside for Lucas Mayer, a freshman miscue for the guy at a century. We saw it in that women's game. The Wolves' post defense can really be locked down at times, and now the men reflecting that as well.
Yeah, that's exactly the truth. And Gabby Bolt ends the game with 18 points, but she had to take quite a few shots in that women's game to get to the 18 points. The post defense for the women's side and now on the men's side, there's just so much size down low for the Wolves, and you can see why they're so talented on both sides. They got some bigs who are very disciplined, know what to do defensively.
Running out of time, Bo Freeze looking for something, and he will take one too many steps. UMary starting to turn Northern over a little bit here nearing the midway point of quarter number one. Jalen White takes it to the hoop, just a little bit too strong in the rebound machine, and Carter Evans picked it up for Northern. Paterka, good find down in the corner. Gabe King on a swish.
Yeah, beautiful play on both sides. A nice attack in the lane, kick to a wide open three-pointer in the corner. And that's what I mentioned earlier. Those are the kinds of threes you want. You don't want them off one dribble, one pass, and shooting a contested three. Inside out, whether that comes from a post feed or a drive, get the defense sucked in, kick it out, and you get open threes. Northern
State shooting 60% from beyond the arc. Sharkey rejected in amongst the trees. The height advantage in this game is going to go to Northern State, and they are utilizing it early on here in this first half. Kick down to the far side again. Gabe King in the corner. Tough matchup here. Carter Evans against the freshman Mayer. Again, King wide open, and UMary has to make an adjustment here in this game.
Yeah, well, that's what having Carter Evans does down there. Some nice size off the bench for Northern State. He draws the double team and does a nice job of keeping his eyes up and knowing how to create out of that double team that comes to him. Back-to-back three-pointers now.
Right on cue. Also coming up with a rebound is Carter Evans. Zocker trying to force that three to answer. Both teams getting ready for wholesale substitutions at the next stoppage. Bo Freeze, that's been the money spot for Northern State. They're cashing in. Coach Cattell has seen enough. A massive run. The Wolves are on the hunt. Welcome back to Jack Brown Stadium here on the Beck Broadcasting Network, and we are getting ready to bring you the action. This is the opening game. We have two today for you here on the Beck Broadcasting Network. Next up, we will have the hometown Jimmies going up against Viterbo University. It's a double elimination format here in the North Star Tournament. So one loss does not end your season, but if you continue to win, you get yourself some insurance games in those later days with those if necessary scenarios coming into play, Brian.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of interesting matchups. You know, you look at the standings as they are now, and Bellevue and Jamestown have separated themselves a little bit as far as wins and losses goes, but this conference got very tight towards the end of the season. Teams like Mayville, teams like Dakota State started picking up wins against Jamestown and against Bellevue, and that just makes for some exciting postseason play.
We should have quite a few great games. These teams infinitely familiar with each other. They've seen each other 4 times already this season. It has gone the way of the Trojans 3 of those 4 times. The first game a 5-2 win for DSU, the second a 4-3 win, the third a 4-1 win. Then all of a sudden it changed in a hurry. 18-6, Mayville State got that 4th game. I think, Brian, today's game will be somewhere in between.
I think you're right, and that was kind of a strange weekend series they had. They played a triple header, and it was Dakota State getting all 3 wins on that first day, and then the Comets come back in impressive fashion, putting up those 18 runs you talked about.
So it's about time to get things started. Happy to have you along, Corey Brooks, alongside Brian Rothenberger, joined, of course, by Jesse Schwab, Scott Lurch, Jordan Hassler, Chris DeGaulle, and Lacey Williams, bringing you all of every game here from Jamestown. The first pitch to Drake Yoshioka is a ball.
Yoshioka from Waipahu, Hawaii.
We got a bunch of different players from a bunch of different places in this tournament. We're going to give you a world tour as we go through some of these lineups here in Jamestown. 1-1 the count to Drake Yoshioka. Set the defense for you now for the Trojans of Dakota State. From left to right on the infield, Poncia, Ratke, Harris, and Andel. In the outfield, Coleman, Jorgensen, and Hoffer, as that one is sent into foul territory. Poncia will give chase, but he has no chance. Berger, the pitcher, throwing to Harris, the catcher. And that is the defensive alignment for the home team on the scoreboard, the Trojans of Dakota State.
And at the plate, Yoshioka's had a nice season, hitting .369, 3 home runs, 26 RBIs, and is a threat once he gets on base. Has attempted 17 stolen bases this season and has been safe 14 times.
1-2 is the count as Berger comes home. That one had some good movement on it. The hometown fans wanted that to be the punch out, but the count will even up at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Close pitch, and early on, Berger hammering the inside part of the plate. He's going to want to start getting those calls as the game goes on.
Yoshioka comes into action today, hitting .365 as he laces that one up the middle. It gets right by Harris, and it will start out with a base knock. Exactly how you draw it up if you're Coach Barry and the Comets of Mayville State.
Sure is. Nice piece of hitting by Yoshioka. Did a good job of laying off the pitch previous and kept his hands tight. Good quick swing, able to poke it right between Santana and Ratke.
That'll bring in the left fielder, Aaron Miller, one of the number of seniors for the Comets of Mayville State. Both teams loaded with upperclassmen. Miller watches the first pitch outside, and so much like to Yoshioka, it begins with a first pitch ball.
And Miller has not had a great season as far as hitting for average goes, just .209, but has some pops, connected for 3 that have left the yard.
A casual pickoff move comes from Berger. Just trying to keep the runner honest over there on first, keep Yoshioka in check. Like you mentioned, he's got some speed, 15 of 18. Leads his team in stolen bases and stolen base attempts. Berger comes home, showing bunt, and pulling it back is Aaron Miller, and it's a good decision because that's ball 2.
And that would be a huge cog to be able to get a guy like Yoshioka over in scoring position this early on. With his speed, when he's on second, a base hit to just about anywhere is going to play to run.
Miller got some speed himself, manning that center field spot. That one's good for the first strike of the AB.
There's that inside strike call. That is what Berger wants. He's hammered it consistently, and already that pitch just about where a ball was called in the last at bat. He's getting the strike.
Berger again comes home the casual pickoff move, not looking to make any mistakes. You can certainly understand the decision. Take a look at Taylor Berger. Comes in with a record of 3-4, an ERA of 3.83. 56 innings pitched as that one is laced foul. Good piece of contact. Will roll all the way to the fence. Berger comes in as well with 35 strikeouts. That's good enough for a lead for Dakota State this season.
Miller, the lefty at the plate, we should point out, just 300 feet down the right field line. A fairly shallow fence, though it is high. Good for lefty power.
Miller watches on, sees that one all the way in, and it goes to the dirt, and so we have our first full count of the day. Dimensions here at Jack Brown Stadium, 350 down the left field line, 365 to dead center, and like you mentioned, 300 to the ivy down in right. Berger readies, comes home, that one will miss. So good speed down to second by Yoshioka, but it doesn't matter. He's going to be able to walk down there. First and second now, and the Comets have it going early.
Yeah, boy, Yoshioka got a fantastic jump. Like you said, able to get there free of charge because of ball 4. I don't think it would have mattered, though. He would have picked up that extra base regardless.
Yeah, that may have been stolen base number 16. A good decision to send him. Coach Barry been very aggressive with his junior second baseman all year. And now we will see his fellow junior, DeAndre Hubbard, shows up. Hubbard at 372 so far this season. But the number that really stands out is the .554 slugging percentage, and he comes up with a runner in scoring position and watches ball 1.
A lot of extra base hits for Hubbard this season. 12 doubles, 3 triples, 37 runs batted in. He's the guy you want up with runners on.
Had 2 extra base hits in the lone Comets win over Dakota State earlier this season. He's going to show bunt here, though, and that one will go for a strike.
I think that caught the Dakota State infield a little bit by surprise. They know the kind of hitter that Hubbard is.
Hubbard does have 4 stolen bases on the year and has played some outfield, so don't be thinking this guy's slow just because he's got the power numbers. We've seen a great mix of that combo as that one's fouled straight back. Across the North Star, there are plenty of players who bring that speed-power combination that makes them so deadly at the plate. Hubbard comes to Mayville State via Houston, Texas, the lone Texan on the roster for Mayville State. Joining our own Chris DeGaulle, making the trip from Texas to the Dakotas. Hubbard stands in, watches the 1-2 and laces it into left field. Going to try and give chase out there. Diving stop, nice play. Jorgensen keeps it alive, but it will be runners at the corners for the Comets here with just the first out notched here in the top of the first.
But what an incredible play by Jamie Jorgensen, able to get over there, laying out, making the catch, saved 2 runs. 1 for sure. That is some impressive defense early on from the Trojan center fielder.
Doesn't get any easier for Berger now as Jose Guzman comes up. The junior has a slugging percentage much in line with Hubbard's, .566 this year, and a large part of that is 5 home runs, ties him for second on the team. Yoshioka takes his lead at third, trying to give Mayville the first lead. Will that be enough? It's sent out all the way, and that's going to fly out 365 and beyond. Speaking of home runs, there is Jose Guzman. Had one versus DSU earlier and has one here. The first lead of the North Star Tournament here in Jamestown goes to the Comets of Mayville State.
Boy, and the kid from Hollister, California, gave that ball a ride to right center. Though the wall is short, that fence is high, and that cleared it with ease. What a way to start for the Comets.
Couldn't have gone any better for Coach Barry, trying to guide his team back to the NAIA tournament for the 4th year in a row. A reminder, the Bruins of Bellevue have already clinched their spot via a regular season championship, as that's ball 1 from Berger. Now the North Star champion will get the second automatic bid, and if it is Bellevue in the championship game, then both teams in the championship game will have already clinched the bid. You don't have to get an automatic bid. You can be an at-large team, but you don't want to leave anything to chance.
Yeah, there's some bad news for Taylor Berger and Dakota State. Things don't get much easier after Jose Guzman. Rowdy Dove, hitting .325, has had a very nice season.
He's going to lace that one foul down the left field line.
And so has Brady Nygaard, who is on deck. We will talk about a lot when he gets up. He had an incredible week last week, good enough to earn him Player of the Week honors.
Rowdy started his senior season off right. That big spring trip had a number of big-time at-bats. Also has a home run versus Dakota State, much like Jose Guzman, and right now he's got a 2-2 count.
Be interested to see with Berger how short the leash is. Obviously gives up 3 here in the first.
That one's a hard shot right at Harris. It's going to get by him. And so it will be standing on first, Rowdy Dove.
That was a hard hit ball. Error will be the ruling, but not an easy play to make. It took a wicked hop off of that lip where the grass meets the clay, and that'll bring Nygaard to the plate.
One of the most subjective plays in all of sports, the error, the hit, but I think that was right. It was right at Harris. Just ate him up on its way in. That one's good for a first pitch strike. That's been a rarity so far early on for Berger.
Brady Nygaard at the plate now, as I mentioned, named North Star Player of the Week in the final week of the regular season. The only Comet to receive that honor this year.
And he's going to try and get it going again. That's a hot shot down to center field. Jorgensen thought he was going to have a chance at it, but it just died right in front of him. And so it's a base knock for the North Star Player of the Week.
Nygaard hit for the cycle in an 11-1 win versus Jamestown. Big win for the Comets. Hit .550 over the week with 11 hits, a slugging percentage of, get this, 150. Over 1,000, had 3 home runs, scored 7 runs, and drove in 9. Now he has a hit here in the tournament. He stands on first.
Anytime you get a number over 1,000 in baseball, it doesn't matter what the stat is, it's pretty good.
Not a bad thing.
So yet another runner in scoring position, and it's going to be bases loaded here as that one gets away from Berger. So even more trouble. A double play could have gotten him out of it. It still could if he manages to induce that ground ball as Hashgarber, hit by the pitch, heads down to first. And Mason Swaygarden will come in. The 8-hole hitter has a big opportunity here to try and blow this thing open early.
And this is going to result in a mound visit. This is a tipping point in this baseball game. For a 3-run lead is very tough to overcome, but if you're able to expand on that, it's going to take a lot of the wind out of the sails of these Dakota State Trojans.
And Taylor Berger managed to get the win earlier this year versus MSU. He was the pitcher in that first game of the triple-header. Gave up just 2 earned runs in 6 innings pitched. That's a quality start, and right now he's already given up more than that here in the top of the first with 1/3 of an inning pitched. That'll bring in Swaygarden in a huge opportunity. 26 RBI, as that was a nice pitch from Berger. We'll see if that mound visit was enough to try and get him back in rhythm.
And I think there you get also Swaygarden coming up a little anxious to crack this thing wide open. Like you said, fell victim to a very nice pitch.
He had the game-winning run in the regular season finale for Mayville State. Tough to say if it's the game-winning run here in the first, but a base hit here would certainly feel like a big-time momentum change early on.
Swaygarden, another versatile hitter for the Comets, hitting .287, 2 home runs. Also has some speed with 8 stolen bases.
He's going to send that one straight back. He's frustrated. And it will be caught down by Poncia. That is out number 2. The bases remain juiced for the Comets.
And if you're Swaygarden, frustration, obviously, you don't want to be that out. You want to keep this rally going, but there are worse things. So you talked about the double play. He's able to stay out of that, so the inning will stay alive. Now for Riley Nelson.
Meanwhile, for Berger, all you have to do is focus on the guy at the plate now. None of the runners matter with 2 outs. That hitter will be Riley Nelson, the freshman, in a big spot in his first North Star tournament. He will watch ball 1.
And Nelson's done a nice job at the 9-hole, hitting .333 for the season. 12 RBIs. You'd like to add to that total right here.
Freshman via Cooperstown, North Dakota. Not a 9-hole hitter because of a lack of numbers, but trying to get that second leadoff spot that we see so often in the sport today. He will watch his first North Star Conference Tournament strike. A young man of little words, per Coach Barry. He likes to let his actions on the field speak for him, and he can have a loud swing of the at-bat here as he's up 2-1.
That was a nice take by Nelson. That was a similar pitch on the other side that Swaygarden chased for strike 1, but they're the freshmen able to lay off.
12 brought in so far this season. A base hit here may score 2. That one fouled straight back, and so 2's everywhere. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in a big top of the first for MSU.
I don't think it has affected anything so far, but the wind may have died down a little bit since we first got here. It was blowing right around 30, 32 miles an hour, and still pushing fairly hard, coming from the right field center fence.
Right now, it would push a ball dead to center. We saw that earlier when Guzman rocketed one. I think that was going with or without wind. A diving play, not enough to get it at third. Poncia can't handle it. 1-run scores for the Comets. And the lead continues to grow. It's 4-0 Mayville State.
And another hard hit ball. This time Riley Nelson able to really drive that one. I'm not thinking that's going to be an error from Poncia. He did a good job to just knock that ball down. That could have been more. And 1 run, but the Comets do play another. It's 4-0.
And now Mayville State is batted around here in the first inning. Drake Yoshioka will get his second at-bat, with the Trojans yet to send anyone into the batter's box. Yoshioka, much like the first time, watches ball 1. He had that single up the middle to get things started. Yoshioka watches the high off speed, and it's 2-0, and now Berger has to be careful. Yoshioka not only can toy with the count, but 2 more balls will bring in another run and make it 5-0.
And all runners taking advantage of the fact that there are 2 outs. They are really extending their leads.
That one is sent straight up. And that will, in theory, get them out of the jam, and it will. Poncia makes the grab, so it's 4 runs in the top of the first for the Comets of Mayville State. The Trojans try to answer back next on the Beck Broadcasting Network.